name's Liz. I'm going to show you how to make some traditional, authentic Southern biscuits today. My husband grew up in Alabama and he told me his mama made the best biscuits in the world. So when I met my mother-in-law for the first time, I asked her to show me how to make them. It's very simple. We have 3 simple ingredients here. You're going to start with 1 stick of real, actual, authentic butter right from the cow. None of that margarine stuff here. You want to soften it. Don't melt it. You want it to be soft enough to be able to cut it into the flour, but not melted. On my microwave, that's usually a power setting of 4 for about a minute. Once you have the butter softened, you're going to add 2 cups of self-rising flour. Self-rising is kind of the secret ingredient here. Gets it nice and fluffy. Here we go, about 2 cups. Then you're going to use a fork to cut in the butter. If you want to get really fancy, you can use a pastry cutter. I find a fork works just fine. And sometimes you make a mess, which is what cooking's all about. Once you have it all cut in there, we're going to add milk. Now, I don't usually measure the milk. We do use whole milk here. You can use buttermilk as well if you like the flavor of buttermilk biscuits. Usually it's about 3/4 of a cup, but I just kind of wing it. The trick here is that you want your biscuit dough to end up being a little more moist than you think it needs to be. I always recommend just adding a little at a time. You can always add a little more, just so you get the consistency you want to get. Almost there, just a little bit more now. And there we go, that's the consistency I like to see. It's gonna look more wet than you think it should. Don't worry about that. Now, you're gonna get your cutting board or whatever surface you want to roll these out on. And you're going to put some flour on there so it doesn't stick. And you're just going to put your biscuit dough right there on the flour. Now the reason we make the dough more moist than we think it needs to be is we're going to coat it in flour during this part of the process. That keeps it from drying out if it's already a little bit moist. So you're going to put some flour kind of on top and then just gently kind of pat it. I don't use a rolling pin. If you manipulate this too much and handle it too much, it makes them tough. So you want to be gentle with it. Then you just kind of fold it over. That gets flour kind of in between the layers, which makes it nice and flaky. Just going to do that a couple of times here. Just kind of gently pat it. And then kind of pat it down a little bit to about the thickness you're going to want to make your biscuits. Then you can take your biscuit cutter, dip that in the flour so it doesn't stick, and cut biscuits about that size. Put them on your baking sheet. And then do the same thing, gather the rest of the dough back together and pat it out again. This recipe usually makes about a half dozen biscuits this size. You can always double the recipe if you need more. Usually when there's a little left over, I'll just kind of roll it together and make one little biscuit. And there we go. Those biscuits are now ready to go in the oven. We preheated the oven to 425. They're going to cook for about 15 minutes. All right, then we take them out and they're perfect, beautiful golden brown biscuits. Have them with our sausage for Sunday breakfast.